We could do a program
Oh,
and
Juneteenth.
get people in. Or we'd have to do a program to do it.
Good. All right. All right. Welcome everyone to the Winchester Public Schools Board of Education Special Meeting Budget Workshop for March 3rd, 2026. Just going to first stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Roll call.
Joseph Santoro,
Chrissy Rylander.
Frank Oliveri,
Shane Centrella.
Kurt Warner.
Julie Luby.
Nora McCarsky?
Eleanor Bishop.
Jonathan Moorhart.
And we have Carol Kiak on the phone. Yep. Okay, perfect. All right, I'd like to move on to item 2, public comment. The Winchester Board of Education welcomes you to its business meeting. There are 2 opportunities set aside to hear comments from the public. We welcome and encourage public participation as a valued part of communicating input with the Winchester Board of Education. We appreciate your adherence to the following. Complete the requested information on the sign-in sheet if you wish to speak. State your name and address when called upon to speak. You will be allotted 3 minutes to share your comments. We are going to keep it to the 3 minutes as strictly as we can, and I will give the readers a 1-minute warning just to alert them. Please be advised that it is not the practice of the Board of Education to engage in dialogue regarding commentary. The superintendent of schools will be directed by the chairperson to prepare an appropriate response in a timely manner. We appreciate your time and thoughtful commentary. Is there anyone who wishes to speak? Come on up. Please sign in. Also hit the microphone so we can hear you, or the TV community can hear you.
I'm Olympia Thompson. I'm at 168 Spencer Hill Road, and I know that you spent an additional 5 hours last week trying to chop up this budget, but I don't want you to think that your time was wasted and that you didn't accomplish anything, because you accomplished something very powerful and something that I'm sure others have tried and failed at, which is that you've gotten our attention. So we're looking now, we're watching, we're listening to everything you have to say, and we're going to measure it against the commitment that you made to us when we elected you. This is good for the town, I believe, this level of transparency. So I'm excited to see what this board can move forward with. And before I take my seat, I'd love to call up Officer Mikio if you're interested in coming up with me. Yeah. Officer Mikio is our safety and security officer at Hinsdale, and she is the heartbeat of Hinsdale School. Anybody who is at the school knows Officer Mikio knows that. And I just have to tell you, there's no Hinsdale School without her. She's also a resident of town.
Yes.
And
Yes.
did you want to make
I
any
do
comments?
have a statement that I would like to read, so I will write down.
You can sign in after
Yep,
if you'd
I can
like.
sign in after?
Yep.
Okay. Good evening. Well, good evening, members of the Winchester Board of Education administrators, educators, families, and members of our community. My name is Jessica Mikio, and I serve as a school safety officer for Hinsdale School. I am here tonight because the position I hold and the work that supports the safety and the well-being of our students is currently in jeopardy due to the proposed budget reductions. I want to share that what that truly means for our schools. School safety is often most visible during emergencies, but the truth is that most of our work happens quietly every single day before a crisis even occurs. Our role involves identifying concerns early, coordinating responses to student safety issues, supporting staff when difficult situations arise, and helping create systems that prevent small problems from becoming serious ones. We work with students who are struggling, students who feel unsafe, and students who sometimes don't know where else to turn. When a safety position is reduced or removed, the impact is not theoretical. It means fewer trained eyes and ears focused specifically on prevention. It means less coordination when safety concerns arise. It means educators who are already stretched taking on responsibilities that require specialized training and time they simply may not have. More importantly, it means students may lose a trusted adult whose role is to ensure they are safe, heard, and supported within the school environment. In today's world, school safety is not a luxury or an extra service. It is a core part of how schools function and how families trust that their children will be protected when they walk through the doors each morning. The role is not just about responding to emergencies. It is about building relationships, recognizing warning signs, supporting prevention efforts, and strengthening communication between students, staff, and the broader community. When we invest in safety infrastructure, we are investing in stability, trust, and preparedness. I understand that the board is facing difficult financial decisions, but I ask that you carefully consider what is lost when safety roles are reduced. Prevention is often invisible until the moment we realize we needed it. Our goal has always been simple: to ensure that every student and staff member can learn and work in an environment that feels secure and supported. I respectfully ask that you consider preserving the roles that help protect that environment for everyone in our schools. Thank you for your time and your commitment to our students and our community.
Thank you. Thank you.
I will
You
sign
wanna
here.
bring that list over there and just fill it up? Yeah.
All right. I do have a question though, if that's okay. Can I ask a question? Or no, not yet?
She can ask, but we don't necessarily
can't
respond
respond.
here. So it would be something that the superintendent could respond to in the
Okay.
future. Not tonight, per se.
Okay, I have another resident and a business owner who also, made a written statement who wasn't able to make it tonight.
You can speak on
That's
it, you
different.
can use
Speak
that,
on
yeah,
behalf of,
That's
yeah.
different.
okay,
As
all
long-
right.
yeah.
Can I do that now since I'm already up here?
Yep.
No? Okay.
We can
I'll
reset
put
it and
down.
go for it.
Okay, thank you, sorry. I'm speaking on behalf of Ramona Frost, LMFT, 294 Main Street. Good evening, members of the Winchester Board of Education, administrators, educators, and community members. My name is Ramona Frost. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, a local business owner, and a member of this community. I am here tonight because decisions being made in this budget will directly affect the children of our community, many of whom depend on school, not just for academics, but for stability, support, and opportunity. When we talk about reducing services due to budget deficiencies, it could sound like a numbers issue, but in reality, these decisions translate into real consequences in classrooms and in children's lives. Reduced services often mean fewer supports for students who are already struggling, students with learning differences, students managing anxiety or emotional challenges, and students who rely on individualized attention to succeed. It could mean larger class sizes, fewer intervention opportunities, less access to counseling, and fewer programs that help children feel connected and capable in school. For some students, these services are the difference between falling behind and finding their footing. For others, they are the difference between feeling invisible and feeling supported. Our schools are one of the most important protective factors in a child's life. When services are reduced, the impact doesn't stop at the classroom door. It affects families who are already stretched thin, educators who are trying to meet increasingly complex needs, and a community that values strong, healthy schools. Budget challenges are real, and I respect that the board is tasked with making difficult decisions, but I urge you to consider the long-term cost of reducing supports for children at critical developmental stages. When we remove early interventions and student supports, we often see greater academic struggles, behavioral challenges, and mental health concerns later on. Investing in children is not an optional expense. It is a foundational responsibility of a community that wants to thrive. Tonight, I ask that you carefully weigh the human impact behind the numbers. I ask that you prioritize the services that help our most vulnerable students stay engaged, supported, and able to succeed. The children in our schools are not line items in a budget. They are the future of this community. Thank you for your time and for the work you do on behalf of our students.
Thank you. Anyone wishing to speak? Everyone's so polite.
My name is Jennifer Mitchell. I live at 95 Nolet Drive. I'm a parent of 3 kids in this district. I'm also a business owner in this district. 3 of my kids go to WPS schools, one of which is in Gilbert, 2 are in Pearson. 2 of those children receive lots of help, lots of services. One has autism, one has ADHD and past trauma that he deals with regularly. When we talk about a 0 increase budget, we need to be honest with what that means, and it means cuts. And it means that my kids will be directly impacted by those cuts. It's not an if or maybe, it's true. They're barely able to give the services they can, barely able to give the services we need in this district already. And what they've done with what little they have is amazing, if you look at the numbers. And to me, that says a lot. And by cutting the budget, you're basically telling them it's for nothing, that we don't see them. We don't see their hard work. And that the students that they're serving and that get services are not important. That's how I see it. The role of the Board of Education is to advocate for what our schools and our students actually need to operate effectively. If we start cutting the budget before it even reaches the Board of Selectmen, we're shortchanging our own students before the conversation even begins. I apologize, I'm extremely nervous. I hate speaking in public. I'm asking the board to support the superintendent's proposed budget so our schools can continue providing services, opportunities, and all of the other things that our children need in this district and that all of our children depend on. To me, it makes no sense to talk about cutting a budget when this is the Board of Education and when the person who knows what we need has already told you what we need. Your job as the Board of Education is to give that budget to the Board of Selectmen, and if they want to cry about it, let them cry about it. But your job is to push it forward and to tell them that this is what we need, this is what our students need, and this is what the Winchester students deserve. Thank you.
Thank you. I did not catch your name.
Jennifer Mitchell.
Thank you.
Hello. Natalie Blacher, 44 Spencer Street. 2 of the district's many published goals for this year are improving school climate and improving talent management, which includes doing a better job retaining staff. The superintendent is attempting to meet these goals and others with a budget that is lean and focused. She aims to improve school climate, talent management, and student achievement in the most affordable way possible. The Board of Education has so far failed to meet its own first stated goal, which is to support the superintendent's plan for Winchester. Not only is the BOE failing to uphold a vision of excellence, this board is actively motioning against the district's ability to improve and reach its goals. Teachers and staff are drivers of school climate. They are watching these budget meetings and they are seeing what you're risking. The public are horrified by some of the suggestions you've made workshopping this budget. Eliminating the Pearson principal role, cutting an entire grade level classroom, replacing consistent paid staff with a hodgepodge of volunteers. By the way, we can hardly get people to sub, and that carries a stipend. You're not helping the superintendent and the district reach their stated goals. Some of you are actively working against this. I'd like to remind you of some of the campaign messages you used to get on this board. Carol, I will bring common sense, compassion, and a collaborative spirit to every decision on the Winchester Board of Education. Frank, I am honored to call Highland Lake my home. I am running for the Board of Education because I believe in strong schools, transparent leadership, and decision-making that reflects the values of our community. Joseph, vote Joseph for leadership that listens. Your comments and actions on this budget do not align with your campaign promises. Your stakeholders are not limited to those who live around the perimeter of Highland Lake. In fact, that's an awfully small percentage of the whole. Young families who make up a large percentage of this community are demanding that the education of this town's children is your #1 focus, not what you think you're doing for your own tax bill. At the last board meeting, board member Eleanor Bishop read a statement on my behalf and on behalf of 2 other families in town, one of whom is Kimberly Schultz, who couldn't be here tonight. Since that message fell on largely deaf ears, I will remind you what it said. We are 3 households in Winstead. Between us, we have 9 children with students at all of the town schools, Hinsdale, Pearson, and Gilbert. We unequivocally support the budget as initially proposed by Dr. Luby. We do not endorse the BOE selecting any of the 4 categories of major cuts. We look to the BOE members to hold at the front of their decision-making minds the interests and well-being of the schools. We do not expect board members to have alternate primary priorities like 0 increases in acrimony with our local high school. Yes, we understand this is a substantial increase to the budget. However, it is also a right sizing for our current and future economic social climate. Your stakeholders are looking to you to support this budget and sell it appropriately to the Board of Selectmen. It is not the mandate of this education board to hinder sound investment in our schools, thereby making our town unappealing to both current and future residents. We implore you to pass the budget and support it moving forward through the entire referendum process. Thank you.
Anyone else?
My name's Tim Strahan, 258 Colebrook Road, and I'm a father of a child entering kindergarten, a special needs child entering pre-K, as well as the uncle to a niece going into the 4th grade. I appreciate the work and transparency that has gone into this process. After reviewing the numbers carefully, I believe this increase is reasonable. In many ways, it is simply catching up. Since 2013, the school budget has increased roughly 20%, while cumulative inflation has been approximately 38%. To merely match inflation, the budget would need to be closer to $27.5 million, and even this proposal comes in below that. When we examine the drivers of this increase, the majority is structural: contractual wages and benefits, Gilbert tuition, out-of-district special education tuition, and transportation. These are not expansions, they are fixed obligations. Non-contractual spending represents only about 0.36% of the total budget. That leaves very little discretionary space to cut without directly impacting staff and student services. With that in mind, I want to address the proposed reductions being discussed. Eliminating newly proposed paraprofessionals and the additional BCBA position would directly reduce the district's ability to support students with complex needs in district. These are precisely the roles that allow students to remain in the least restrictive environment and avoid far more expensive out-of-district placements. Removing these supports does not eliminate need. It increases long-term cost and legal exposure. Not replacing a retiring principal and assigning one administrator to cover 2 schools may appear efficient. It reduces leadership presence, oversight, and compliance capacity. Cutting field trip funding diminishes student opportunity. Reducing SSOs affects the foundation of school safety. When viewed collectively, these are not cosmetic trims. They are reductions in capacity. We are currently ranked as the 4th most fiscally distressed town in the state. That reality should not push us towards shrinking educational capacity. It should reinforce the importance of stabilizing it. Communities in distressed positions cannot afford to underinvest in the systems that help stabilize property values, attract families, and strengthen the long-term tax base. Education is infrastructure, not excess. If this increase is necessary to meet structural obligations, I urge the board to support it, and I urge the town manager and the Board of Selectmen to aggressively support additional state funding and relief so educational adequacy does not fall solely on local taxpayers. Now, on a personal note, my son has a significant neurological disability. Despite that, he's cognitively strong and socially engaged. To access school appropriately, he will likely require substantial supports, potentially including a one-on-one paraprofessional and coordinated services. Under federal and state law, children are entitled to be educated in the least restrictive environment alongside the peers to the maximum extent appropriate. Placement decisions must be driven by student need, not by staffing shortages or budget compression. I strongly oppose unnecessary out-of-district placement for my son. I believe he belongs in this community with appropriate supports in place, and I will do everything within my rights as a parent to ensure his needs are met. Our son's lead physician has advised us that children with this level of disability, it is unfortunately common for families to receive appropriate services only after legal action. That is not the route I want. My preference is collaboration and good faith partnership, but reducing special education capacity narrows options and increases the likelihood of conflict rather than cooperation. I hope we move forward with a budget that reflects fiscal responsibility, legal compliance, and student safety, and most importantly, our children. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Sorry, I have to read because I had an unfortunate incident where I tried to speak one time and my soul like left my body. I just want to start by saying I'm grateful for Tara Sunday, 152 Spencer Hill Road, off to a roaring start. I just want to start by saying grateful for those of you who have done the homework, remained composed and level-headed, and invested significant time and precious patience while setting aside differences of opinion. It's not an easy job. I recognize that. Not everyone is going to leave the table getting what they think is their subjective sense of what is appropriate or fair. And I hear people in the community making reference to back in the day. Back in the day, my brother used to ride the bus to tech with kids toting their 22 gauges for gun club. Schools are operating much differently now. We're in a new era. We need to address what we have in front of us and not allow nostalgia to hinder growth. Among the Winchester Public Schools' shared values are commitment to excellence and support for all learners, with an operating principle to prioritize students first. Unfortunately, I'm hearing unrealistic scenarios and suggestions, and it seems as though a number of board members are coming to these very important meetings unprepared and frankly with incorrect information. I'm just so shocked to hear such things being suggested, that WPS not replace a principal, or comparing our district to those outside of our DIRG, and then not understanding why there's a variance in test scores, or suggesting that the board put forth a 0% increase. It leads me to wonder if there are some members that may not be talking to parents of students, or even taking advantage of opportunities that have been provided to spend time in the schools and see some of the issues firsthand that are being discussed and decided upon. This stuff is so important, not just because I'm a parent, I'm a resident, I'm a taxpayer. Everyone else's students, our kids are important to me as well. It's not just mine. Supporting this budget will help achieve the district goals that you all agreed upon. Instituting cuts to this budget and expecting that we'll somehow see academic progress, increase student opportunities, or minimize behavioral incidents is just foolish. I'm not sure why we're at an impasse. The schools are under-resourced and underfunded, and truthfully, we're a town with unique needs. If the Board of Education feels this budget meets its obligation to provide for essential and non-negotiable expenses, then I implore you to support this budget and allow the Board of Selectmen, who's the town's fiscal authority, to take the next steps with it. Allow them to make the spending recommendations or suggestions, but please support this budget whole and allow the school district to achieve the highest student performance and success.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak?
I'm actually going to stand up. I'm William Hester, 82 Boyd Street. I'm on the Board of Selectmen. I am the liaison for the Board of Education plus other boards here in town. First, I'd like to say shame on Selectman Bishop for saying that the Board of Selectmen should be the bad guys here. We're not the bad guys. We're all on the same team. I've always supported this budget, the budgets through these years here. So shame on you. The other thing is, I just want to bring to light here that this is not a budget cut. Okay, the budget cannot be cut from last year. It has to be the exact same. This is an extra ask that the superintendent is asking for the town. The other thing is, I just want to bring to light here, that last year, the budget was 1.7 or $8 million extra, but most of that the Board of Education got. Now that only passed by 8 votes. 8 votes. The Board of Selectmen pushed it through the request. 8 votes. That's 8 people sitting up here that could have voted the other way and passed it. Now this town is on the cusp of something really great and good happening, thanks to the town manager, Paul Harrington. We've done a lot of work. Some of our investors are sitting right here in this room. They bought 508, 510 Main Street. There's going to be a beautiful building going up there. The first new building since the 70s on Main Street. We have the old Highland Acres that's being rebuilt for condos. The 118 acres up on Wallens Hill, that's all coming. So things are coming. We're progressing. We're on the cusp of some really good stuff here in town. I agree, let's not go backwards, but what can the town afford? We don't want people to not come to town because they can't afford the taxes. We don't want people that are living paycheck to paycheck to not. I've gone back and looked at what some of the zero budgets all those years, and the mill rate stayed the same. How could the mill rate stay the same and the budget never increased? That's some pretty fancy paperwork right there, some budgeting. So I just want to encourage everybody that we're on the cusp of some really good stuff here that's happening in town. And I think that's what we need to focus on, not just here and now, but what's coming ahead. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak?
Brian Sunday, 152 Spencer Hill Road. I want to start by saying I do appreciate Selectman Hester. I know he does put in the work and he goes to all these meetings, and he's right. I think he has been supportive in his comments and some of his actions on the school budget. With that said, I didn't hear Selectman Bishop's comments about who's the bad guy, if people are bad guys, but I do agree with the sentiment that this board should just move the budget along to the Board of Selectmen. I think you're operating under this idea that I think maybe there should be $1 million cut. Maybe I missed that. Some people said there should be $1 million cut. I was so frustrated watching that last meeting because I saw all of you go around in circles over and over, talking about cuts that you know don't make sense. I mean, there's no evidence that any of the things that the superintendent has described that would be affected make sense. They don't make sense. So from my point of view, it's the Board of Selectmen who is telling you, hey guys, you've got to cut the budget. They're sort of forcing you to do things that you know don't make sense. Send the budget to them, let them do it. Let them make the cut. They should have some accountability. If they think that this is the right way to go, if they want the budget reduced, I get it, it's the proposal, it's not the budget, he's right on that for sure. But put the accountability in their laps. Make them do it. Are we on the cusp? I don't know. I don't know that sending the message of cutting the school budget or the proposed budget is going to push us to the next step beyond of being on the cusp. I just don't know that it helps. I don't know that it sends the right message. And just as a side note, I could probably count on 2 hands the people that I graduated high school from or with, or within a year or two of that, who decided to stay in this town, raise their kids in this town. They all left. So many of them left because of the types of meetings we had last week and some of the rhetoric we've seen all along. They've gone to New Hartford. They've gone to Canton. They've gone to all these other towns because of what we've seen transpire this budget cycle. Without question, they have left for the schools. I hear it over and over. And that type of thing affects economic development. It has ripple effects all throughout town. Whether it's coaching on the athletic fields, we have no coaches in this town. We have become more and more over the years a transient town. There used to be a time when I knew all the families, and it's just not the case. The town is changing, and it's because of that. These families that we need to come back and invest in our communities, they're leaving. They went to other places. It is still happening. It's going to continue to happen. It has ripple effects on our volunteers, our boards. The people that would invest in this town and stay long-term, they're not here anymore. We want them to stay, and the schools are a huge part of that. So hopefully you've had some back channel conversations over the weekend. Maybe you're coming in with a plan tonight, and we'll have a more productive meeting. But based on what I saw last week, incredibly frustrating to talk about, hey, we've got to do something different. We've got to cut this. We have to do something different, but no ideas. Talking around and start, what's the thing that we're going to do different? So please, if you don't have a plan, I would just save the rest of us the heartache, move the budget along to the Board of Selectmen, and let them make the decision. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I wasn't planning to speak, but since I seem to be the subject of some comments here, I just want to say I completely agree with Mr. Hester, Selectman Hester, that we are on the cusp of something big, and I completely agree that our town manager, Paul Harrington, is really doing a fantastic job. I really respect what he's doing, and we are really, he describes it as a rocket ship that's about to take off. So I don't think that each year is going to be as difficult as this year. We're not going to face these same increases next year in insurance and such. We are already seeing some increases to the grand list. So we definitely are on the cusp of something. And that is why I don't think this is the time to slash our schools. I mean, we don't want to crash that rocket ship before it takes off. So as far as what I said last week, I see the Board of Selectmen as a we. So when I said make us the bad guys, the person who is going to be the most seen as the bad guy on the Board of Selectmen, if we have to make a giant cut to education, that's me, because I ran with the primary goal of supporting education. So when I say the bad guy, I am going to be the one who's the bad guy. If I have to raise my hand and vote for cuts, and if that's what we have to do in the end, we have to do it. I understand we can't face a 15% tax increase. You know, that's just impossible. So who's going to be the bad guy? Like, I'm the bad guy on the Board of Selectmen. And what I was saying is also buy us some more time. There are things in the works that are happening at the higher level. The cavalry could be coming. Like, why cut it now? That was my point. Why cut it now? So I agree very much. We're on the cusp of great things. And I ask you to just send it to us. Let us look at it. I mean, we will do what we have to do. Mr. Harrington will make the correct recommendations as needed. Thank you for your time.
Anyone else?
Hi, I'll sign in at the end. I'm Mary Ann Marino. I spoke last week, 631 Vera Road. I hope the temperature comes down in the room a little bit here, so the discussion can be thoughtful. I just want to share my own personal experience. Myself and my brother were raised by a single mom, and we were very fortunate to live in a town that had excellent public schools. Our father was very unreliable. That destabilized our lives. What stabilized our lives, in addition to our extended family, were the school teachers and administrators who saw us and took care of us every day of our lives. And my talents and also my deficiencies were recognized, right? So a mirror got held up every time a talent was recognized, and a helping hand was extended every time a deficiency was recognized. And I'm gonna tell you, I was going over it in my head today, and I thought, wow, you know, it's true, Mrs. Hawley really called out the fact that I was good with language, and I could really express myself with language. It was called out that I was good with math. It was called out that I was creative. And the fact is that all of those things were foundationally supported in such a way that I continued through high school, through my undergraduate school, college, through graduate school. All of those things fed into an incredibly successful career. That couldn't have happened without the support that I got in the public school system. And you know what I did, guys? I didn't grow up in this town. I spent my summers here. I came back. I moved here. I'm now volunteering. I'm on 2 boards. I'm on the Wetlands Highland Lakes Watershed Association. I'm doing a lot. And I wouldn't be able to do any of those things without that foundational support. And what the 2 selectmen said is true. I'm so psyched the developers are here. if we're gonna have new development, new housing, new businesses that are coming in, which Paul Harrington and the Board of Selectmen have been working very hard to attract, why would people move here if our school system's substandard? Why would that growth continue? You guys all know this, that the character of a town is defined largely by its school system. So I agree, like, you know what? Thanks, Frank. Thank you, Nora. Thank you, Chrissy, for trying last week. You guys, you tried, you made motions, you made amendments, you all discussed it, didn't work out. I think it's right. Keep the budget the way that it is. Send it to the selectmen. That is their job, budgetary oversight. Let them figure it out. There are things happening at the state level. You know that, Kurt. There may be things happening at the federal level that can help as well. This budget doesn't have to pass until May. Send the budget through. Don't preemptively cut it. Don't let yourselves get twisted into pretzels because I don't know who is pressuring you. Don't. Listen to these families, right? Their children's story could be my story. And those children could be coming here, right, in 20 years and doing what I'm doing. It is an investment. That's all I have to say.
Anyone else? Anyone else? Going once?
I have a statement
Sure.
to read from someone. Okay. So I have a statement from Seth Roy. He is at 288 Torringford Street. My wife works for the school system as a paraeducator. I can say unequivocally, it would appear that some members of this board have no clue about what these teachers and staff deal with on a day-to-day basis. I thank all the board members who have taken the time to see for themselves the tough task that our educational staff is handling, is handing to them on a daily basis. However, suggestions by certain members of the board have been made that shed light on the lack of knowledge the members have as to what struggles these people have with students. In addition, the lack of consideration for inflation and cost of goods increasing also dictates to me that there is a decent likelihood that some members have never made a budget before either and therefore wouldn't know what a good budget looked like when given to them. For newer members of the board, I would look to the leadership of Kurt Warner and Nora Makarski and follow their veteran experience with the town and the board. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Going once, going twice. Sold. All right. On to item 3, information items, discussion. The format's going to be a little bit different this time, so it's not as confusing and complicated as the last time. We're going to open it up to discussion first before we make a motion to vote on this budget. So I'm going to first hand it off to Julie as she has some items that she would like to discuss.
Thank you. I'm going to be very brief. This is more so just announcements, if you will. First, I want to just take it off of the administrators to let you know. Several of our administrators live like an hour away, and I ask them to watch from home. So please don't read into their not being in the room. They are watching, but it didn't seem like a night for an hour drive. So that's on me. I also was asked to remind the board, and actually anyone else, that we have our drone competition on Saturday the 14th. We are eagerly accepting volunteers. If you can't commit to, I think I sent you the full schedule. If you're able to just even come by and see, we would really welcome that. It stands to be an amazing event, and we're thrilled to have it back in town. Quickly, I wanted to share, I'm not sure, a couple of speakers I think have alluded to the idea that maybe the cavalry is coming. We are working really hard in advocacy at the state level and also at the federal level, looking for support to come into the town to provide financial assistance that would help with the budget increase both on the town side and the school side and make it more affordable to the taxpayers. Obviously, that's not something we get to know today, but we are actively, I met today with the governor's chief of staff and the commissioner of education and someone from Senator Larson's office.
We are actively, Kurt and Jay Case went and met with someone from the governor's office and the commissioner. So we do have the ear of people who have the power and the ability to help us. So we're putting forth an amendment to make a change to the ECS formula. Without totally geeking out, I've learned way more than the average bear ever wanted to know about the ECS formula, but it turns out that we are in a funny position with it because we have a relatively high per capita grand list. The ECS formula is based on wealth factors, not poverty factors, and we are considered reasonably wealthy because of our grand list of homes and their values, and we are also the fourth most distressed community in the state. And that was a really interesting dichotomy, and it caught the attention of the governor's office as well as the senator's office, and I think we have a compelling argument to be made. So we're working hard at that. And the last thing I wanted to share, I've been asked a couple times at recent meetings sort of what my vision is, and you know, I tried to convey through the budget presentation, particularly by sharing the children, that the vision is about kids, but I wanted to just speak a little bit more about how the pieces sort of hang together for that. What we are trying to do with this budget, Board of Ed members will know, I'm not sure if the community is as aware, we are trying to expand our preschool through 100% state-funded construction that would allow us to get to kids sooner. We are developing programs that will allow us to keep kids in district and perhaps bring kids who are already in outplacements back. Our vision is that if we can get to kids early and provide the appropriate supports and create that environment that helps them be school ready by kindergarten, that we're already ahead of the game, and that if we can have the proper supports in place, like the BCBA, the special ed teacher, and special programs when needed, safety officers to make connections, principals to work with families, that if we can wrap ourselves around the children of Winchester, we can provide an amazing education, keep our kids here, and have them go out into the world ready to contribute to their community. I'll go back to sort of the initial slogan, the schools we need for the town we want. We are trying to put bubble wrap around the children, not in the way of like not letting them fall down and get dirty, but we are trying to create that environment that will meet their needs from the earliest of days throughout their time with us. And if I've not been able to convey that through this, I apologize, but that is what's underneath, behind, and the foundation of the budget. And hopefully that's helpful to have in your thoughts as you deliberate. So I give it back to you.
Okay, so we are open to discussion for the purpose of the fiscal year 2027 budget. Does anyone have other questions for Julie, or would we like to open it up to discussion, particularly about the budget and where we move forward with this?
I would like to echo one of the things that persons had said tonight, and I think it's very important to us as a board to understand and make sure we keep ourselves on the target of our own board goals, of which is to deliver an education system that is completely an investment in our system, in our community, that brings in investors into our towns. I'm reminded of a colleague who often says that education is an individual right, but it's also a community responsibility. And I think that's the cornerstone of what we need to be thinking about here when we go to looking at the targeted issues and so forth. And I'm encouraged to see the community out and out early. I think their voice is important, and that's part of our goal, was to get community input. As hard as it's to hear sometimes, I think it's also necessary that we hear from our community members. And so I'm encouraged to see that. I see the same energy that was there last year. I call it the miracle of 8, passing the budget with 8 people, having said yes more than no. And I'm definitely encouraged to see the energy going forward. And as a person that's been through the receivership and the work that had been done for the last so many years, going forward is critical. And I echo the same thing the Board of Selectmen have been saying. Moving on and continuing this movement forward has been critical. Pre-K through 6 has been very successful. Our scores show it. Our kids are happy. They want to be in the school systems. And we've had, an interim superintendent say the same thing. And I think security and safety is very important in our district. And we responded to those concerns in the past with last fall. So I think that needs to continue to go forward. And I think that as we deliberate, we keep that in mind.
Yeah, I just have one comment, kind of feeds off of Nora. While it's really wonderful and energizing to see so many parents here, to me, I also think it's a little sad that they feel like they have to come and defend the school budget to their own Board of Ed. So I'm hoping we can renew some of their faith in us through this process so they don't feel like they have to come and speak out for us to support the students and staff of the schools.
Also, I wanted to remind everybody, when we had a retreat, we were talking about CABE, the Connecticut Association of Boards of Education. We were given a list of their code of ethics. The very first one is, I will be a staunch advocate of high-quality, free public education for all Connecticut children. In fulfilling my responsibilities, I will think of children first.
So with all that said, it's a difficult process. It really is, it's a difficult process. It is a definitely difficult process, as the audience knows.
I'll speak to the fact that, and I appreciate Seth for thinking that I'm a veteran on this. This is only my second budget. I'm still new to this process. Last year was very eye-opening as far as what the process was and how it went. Yeah, we were very, not sure that we expected to get the vote, to get the budget through the first round, so we were very pleasantly surprised. I've grown up in this town. Our town is known for its politics, and that's not a good thing. Our town tends to have a we want better, we don't want to go through the means to get there attitude at times. And we're a town that doesn't have a vision in a lot of times. I think that's changing. I believe our board has to have a bigger vision moving forward. So this is not a complicated process year in and year out. By holding Dr. Luby to a standard, by holding our board to a standard, by creating programs that will sustain, that will ease the burden moving forward is important. And that's a vision that, as we move forward, could help us 2 to 3 years down the road. The reality is nothing that helps us down the road is going to help us tonight in making the decision. We're in the place we are. We have to make our decision based on that. It's not an easy decision. This is actually probably the hardest decision we'll have to make, hopefully, moving forward. I feel like everything that was working against us or could work against us is working against us this year to come up with a fiscally responsible budget where it benefits everyone. That being said, I probably have more skin in the game than any of you up here, being that I have 2 kids in the school system and a wife that works in the school system. So I do not take this lightly. In fact, I have not slept since Thursday, which is not a great thing for me or my family. And I'm going to assume some of you have done the same throughout. It's very stressful, and it's I don't envy any of us, but we have to come to a decision. We have to get this budget to Mr. Harrington. So I hope we can come to calm heads. I hope we can be rational tonight, and we can come to a decision that benefits everyone. That being said, does anyone else have anything to say before we move on to the next item? Anyone?
I'd
It's
like
okay to speak.
I would like to make a motion.
Okay, so we want to move on?
Action item, item 4?
Is it, we're talking about item 4? Because we can't add motions to the agenda.
I'd still like to add a couple things before we get into action items.
For discussion.
Sure, yeah, I mean, because discussion is discussion, and we don't have to be bound to a motion and pegged to it. I think that we had talked about last time, the new positions, if you will, and one of my positions, my part was that, you know, if we look at those as financial ways to try to reduce this budget, if you will, meeting the needs of the taxpayer, which is very important, I would have to say that the SSO should not be touched. I'm an advocate of that, and I want to express that to you all tonight because of where we were and the climate, which is our goal. It has a tremendous effect there. And I'm loath to look at that BCBA in terms of the cutting board because I think that has its investments in terms of keeping kids in-house. We've heard from a parent today they'd rather educate their child here in the buildings here where we all like local schools and so forth. You have the relationships that you could develop. So, you know, I'm not sure exactly where people and persons feel about that. But I think, you know, if we could look at other things that don't affect the instructional core, I think that would be to our advantage, and we could preserve our goals as best as possible.
So all I'll say to that is our job is not to determine how the cuts or anything are made. Our job is to come up with a number, and it's the superintendent's job to then figure it out from there. Like our job, there are certain things that I don't want out of this budget, but that's not my determination.
Well, we certainly signal to Julie what our values
Sure,
are,
absolutely.
right? And
Yeah.
and we are her boss.
Absolutely.
So we could say, Julie, hold this or cut
Yeah.
that, you know, so she's got to do what we say. So we can't just leave her with a blank slate, you know
Sure.
what I'm saying?
Absolutely, and,
So-
and I think we have voiced it. I don't think necessarily she knows what our wants are and
Well,
what our.
well, let's dig in because
Yeah.
we've had like 3 rounds of motions last time and we left without anything, so let's dig in, if y'all ready.
Non-negotiable for me is a second BCBA. It's a non-negotiable.
As in, gotta have it?
Non-negotiable, yes.
Okay.
As in have to have it. I just think when we have someone who has the caseload that he has, and could benefit us in keeping kids in district with the programs he creates, and pairing him with somebody else that can help along the way, I think that's important. I think that would help prepare or go towards the vision we have moving forward in building out a program. So for me, that's a non-negotiable.
I agree with Kurt. I feel like that's also a non-negotiable, just the vision moving forward. And then also to the SSOs, I think I said last week too, they were something the parents asked us for because of a tumultuous climate. So I think it's important that we do all we can to also keep the SSOs.
Much of the additional pieces are additional pieces that were proposed, new positions for students, special ed, para ed, behavior tech, behavioral issues. I would like to keep the gifted program. We had a parent that was speaking here last time. It's a small $6,000 piece. It is new in our budget, but I think that we need to make sure we meet the needs of everyone, all students, all abilities, and I think that's an easy keep.
I think that's the one that I think this board could say 9-0 yes for.
Yep.
And that took some creativity, and that's what we're talking about. That we got to be creative within the budget that we present, because if that was a full-time position, we'd be looking at $70,000.
Right.
So we need more of those creative ideas.
As I sit here and listen to everyone, I think one of the big things to remember, we keep mentioning children. If our children were sitting here watching the way that we speak to each other, I've learned a lot since being on this board. This is my third budget. And one thing I've learned is how to sit, how to listen, also to be careful with your words, because again, we're setting an example. So in some cases, we can make inflammatory remarks to one another. I have done so in the past. That's not productive. I think we can share, and I absolutely love, and I will reiterate this again and again, I love the fact of differing opinions, of not only opinions, but ideas. This should be a place of ideas, and they shouldn't be shot down just because we don't agree with them or it doesn't align with our ideologies. I think it's a really good place to be understanding this is where we can, and I love to see so many come out and speak, because that's what a town should be about. We should be able to do it respectfully, and I think for the most part, most people have done that, and it's a beautiful thing. But again, just with the forethought and the, without reprimanding one another, just always thinking about the fact that, what if our children were watching? What if the children were sitting here as we're having these discussions? While it is in their best interest, and we always want to serve in that way, we also want to set an example for them. So that's one thing that I think about, and maybe when I first joined this board, wasn't necessarily on the forefront of my mind how I spoke or what I shared. With that being said, I think there's a lot of good ideas, and one of the things that I just wanted to kind of almost parrot is I think the vision is key. We did talk about that in our retreat. While it is important to have the vision forward, we also, I don't think those things are being fiscally responsible and also looking at our children's best interests. Those things can align. Good ideas can come forth that will build programs that possibly could be revenue producing programs. That's what I'm interested in. That's what I want to see, not because it's about dollars and cents, but that is a reality of life, right? People have to meet their needs and their bills, and I think that's been discussed, and that can be done while also keeping children in the forefront of our mind, and what's in their best interest. And it can actually serve them in their future, being like, wow, our town was able to create programs when they didn't have the most means as a collective community. They were able to build programs with thoughtfulness in mind, to be able to facilitate the best programs possible. So that's really at the core of what I would love to see us do as a collaboration. And I understand right now that's not our main goal. Our main goal is to pass a budget. That's why we're here. So not to get lost, but that should be our main focus, is today's budget. I agree, but with a vision forward to how we can create programs that soften the blow to the taxpayer. So it can be, I think those two things can be mutually beneficial.
Okay, I would like to say something. In reference to the positions you like to add to the current budget, which is last year's budget for $24 million, rather than putting a price on it right now, put a dollar amount on it, $1, add it to the budget, and then when your hiring process starts, let's say next April, they hired for July 1st next year. Not hired this year, but we carry it through, put it on the budget as a line item, as you have it, with a dollar amount that carries it through as a new item for the budget, for the 27 budget. But we put it, but you hire it for the 28 budget. You hire those positions for the 28 budget.
I think you have everybody's head spinning, Frank.
Basically, you're saying defer the new positions for a year.
Right.
Is that?
Yes. Now that takes a chunk for the new increase out of the budget right now for us and for the people here. We get both what we want. We get the positions and we that doesn't cost us anything.
Can we, thank you.
Holy plow.
Can we, do we have anything out that can show the three drivers of this budget? So our budget, Gilbert's budget, and then out of district? Do we have anything? So I want everyone to see the number of what, how the proposed budget is now, what that increase is for our portion. And if we don't have it to show,
Are you thinking of this?
Like page 19.
That sort of shows 1/3, 1/3, 1/3? Or are you talking?
I want the real number, because what we're looking to cut would be our portion. Or what is discussed if we're,
Okay.
is our portion. So I just need to, I think everyone needs to see the numbers in front of them to understand. You know,
This.
what because it doesn't impact out of district. Whatever we choose tonight for a number has no bearing on the out of district costs, because that is,
Is that what you're looking for?
yeah, something along those lines, yes.
Okay. Matthew, in my document, budget deliberations, if you could go to the tab called AA by portion, please. And then just hone in on that top left corner there that shows, you know, all the extraneous numbers are just me doing math.
So our portion of the increase would be the 906, 656.
Correct.
Okay. Gilbert's portion of the increase would be 856, 300.
It's actually down to,
Oh.
below that, the 846, 700.
Minus 90.
Right, minus 9,600.
9,600. Okay. And then the out of district is 793, 741. So those, the second and third column we can't control tonight, right?
Right, but I'm only talking about those positions.
No, I'm not referring to
oh.
that, no.
I'm sorry, okay.
So what I'm saying is that's based on the 2.5 proposed increase that we're looking at right now. So whatever number we land on comes off that first column.
Correct.
Right.
It does not impact the second or third column.
Correct.
Okay? So I just wanted everyone to look at that. And Carol, I apologize. Are you still there? Is she on mute?
I believe so.
I'm still here.
All right, good.
Okay.
I apologize, you can't see it, but, so our portion of the current budget as proposed is $906,656. Gilbert's portion is $856,300 minus 9,600.
Which is 846, 700.
Which is 846,700. And the out-of-district costs is $793,741. That gets us to the total increase of $2,556,697 as proposed. Okay? You got those numbers? Actually, it gets us to it gets us to the 2.5, 2547097, correct? Is that
Right, it gets
Yes.
us to 2547. Do we just lose it?
Did we lose?
No.
Oh.
Oh, it's just And then we have some modest reductions just for things that have happened since we did the budget. So the increase currently is 2515617.
Gotcha. Okay, so I just wanted everyone to see that, just as a reference to whatever we do tonight impacts only the first column. Okay?
So if you go to page 20.
Yep.
Page 20 shows all the new proposed positions, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Right?
right on.
Now, Nora, you said last week as we should, invest in the future, right?
Yep.
So which were those positions you wanted kept in?
Well, after having conversations and listening to the community, I would say the gifted stays, the BCBA should be staying. I think the other pieces of it are awful to let go, but I think that we'd have to visit that fiscally, and I think that those would have to be hard hits. At first, I was also thinking taking field experiences and field transportation out, but I think that's also critical, and it's also $22,000. I have a question about page 41. I'm sorry to bounce a little bit there, Frank, though.
And we can get back to that, so everyone can kind of give their opinion of what they feel are their needs. Yeah, so we'll get there.
The professional learning for the staff, the 5,000, Julie, this is Title I grant, right? This, but you
So-
said it's in flux.
So Title II is the grant
Oh,
that
sorry.
provides funding for professional learning. There is grave concern that it will not exist in the format that we're used to it. So part of this was covering ourselves so that at least we had a small budget for professional learning.
Because we've
Part of-
never had it.
We've had zero.
Right.
And part of it is simply signaling that we value professional learning.
Okay.
I mean, we can obviously take it out or we could reduce it, but it was a little bit symbolic. And hedging.
I'm also mindful that the work that everybody has done to push the state to help us out, and the sausage is still being made, and we have a long way to go. But I also know that we have to make some tough calls here. And,
This is a tough one. Just because of where we started in this budget. Like I said, I see the impact every day with someone who is in that school every day. And it's, for everyone that works in that school, it's mentally and physically draining. And to not have full support is tough. I'd love to give them everything they need now. I'd love to. I don't think this community could take a $2.5 million. Like I said, I have the most skin in the game up here. I don't think the community can take it, $2.5 million.
Julie, if we cut some of these new positions, these new asks, if you will, and then the state comes in with money, would we be able to go back to say, let's reinstate this?
We know, once the Board of Ed, and I will say, just because last time was 5 hours and we left undone, it is statutorily required that this board approve some budget, any budget. Otherwise, you're
So
breaking
then,
all the laws.
if we do it the way I want to do it, put a dollar amount, $1, we're talking about is $1, just to show $1 on the line. So if the state does come back with money, in, let's say in 3 months, the line is there, it's in the budget.
So the short answer to your question is, once this board approves a budget and we hand it off to the Board of Selectmen, it's out of our hands. We can't increase our ask. If the Board of Selectmen is still in the process and we haven't gone to the May town meeting yet, and the Board of Selectmen learned that we were getting a $2 million
Infusion?
earmark, is that the word?
Earmark.
Earmark, which we are actively pursuing. So if we were to, as a town, come into some money, the Board of Selectmen could increase the Board of Ed line in their budget. Whether or not they would or not, I can't speak to, but we could not revisit it. We don't get that opportunity.
Gotcha.
The only way we revisit is if it gets further cuts and we meet to deliberate how we're managing those.
Door open.
The dollar item?
Should we move to item 4?
Any more discussion? Okay. Move on to item 4, action item, adoption of fiscal year 27 Board of Education budget. Would everyone like to make a motion?
What was the number that I proposed last week? I can't remember that.
I believe it's 1.9.
Joseph, give me 1 second. Frank amended, second Joseph, nope, Joseph.
As she's looking, I just want to make a point that when someone is speaking, there are no side conversations, there's no talking across the table. The person who's speaking is the person who has the floor.
Joseph, let me just make 100% sure. You were the one yes vote, so I'm thinking this was your motion. Hold on.
I thought there was 2 on there. 2 yeses.
Vote on the motion. Joseph motion to amend, Frank to second. The number that you put forward was $25,990,482.
I'll write that down just so.
If you give me 1 second, I will tell you how much that is less than the proposal so that people can see that in both directions.
That's inclusive keeping the BCBA, correct?
I don't know that to be the case. My glasses, sorry.
BCBA is 121.
It's the first time tonight I needed those. Okay, so equals the increase minus Joseph's number of 25,990,482. What did I do wrong? G3, the increase, oh, it's the whole budget, sorry, hang on. I need F3. So Joseph, what you proposed is that we reduce the proposed budget by $560,080.
Go ahead, sorry.
Is that something different?
This is the bottom plus the BCBA, that's where I came up with. I think that was close to what we were at. But anyway, go ahead.
Joseph's motion, I think the one you're referring to, was to reduce the proposed budget by $560,080 for a total budget of $25,990,482.
25.
990, 482.
So, I'll make a motion, just so we can start the conversation, okay? And I'm not gonna do it from the top, I'm gonna just do it from, I don't know what the total number would be. Maybe you'd have to help me.
Okay.
But I will make a motion to cut the proposed budget by $328,299. Just needs a second.
I'll second.
So that gets us a budget of $26,222,263. So that 328 number sounds specific.
It is specific.
Do you
We
want
can go into discussion if we're ready for discussion.
We can go into discussion, sure.
Because we have to give them a budget and we're running out of time. this $328,000 proposed cut, I'll itemize it for y'all. It would be to eliminate the $2,500 for the travel reimbursement on page 68. It would be eliminating the $5,000 for the PD for the staff on page 41. It would be eliminating new positions inclusive of one special ed teacher on page 20, one para on page 20, one para on page 20, one behavior tech on page 20, the lunch monitors on page 20, the part-time custodian on page 20, keeping the BCBA, keeping the gifted program. It also includes an additional cut of a regular ed teacher. To the equivalent of $70,788. For a total of $328,299. My thought behind that is that it keeps the vision moving, which is the BCBA, servicing all of our kids on all ends of the needs and the spectrum of the needs. And I know we had talked about perhaps looking at what's happening with some movement in our program in regular classroom teachers.
So, can you bring up page 7? I think we're dangerous when we're talking about positions at this point, just because there's people watching. But as we project for class sizes throughout, and the community has to understand that contractually, we have a max cap size depending on the grade. But there is some flexibility as you look in some of the grades to where we could potentially eliminate a classroom teacher. And it won't impact the kids as drastically if you're looking at some of the grades.
It doesn't exceed the threshold per contract.
It doesn't exceed, in one, it actually doesn't come close to exceeding. Right. So, it's there, the potential is there, but it also means that it has to be added back the next year, when hopefully we have more flexibility. But I want us to be cognizant, like, I know we want to have our wants and asks, but we also, it's for Julie and Nancy to figure it out. Once they have a number, it's not our job to say what it is or who it's going to be. Our job is just to present a number, and then they get to be creative.
As long as you task us with something realistic.
Sure.
You can't tell me cut $1 million, but don't lose any people.
Right. Right. So, I want to be careful with that.
If you could be creative about keeping everyone there that is currently there, I'm all for it. And I'm obviously hopeful that the state can help us out here. But I also know that we have to move this to the Board of Selectmen.
Do you want to repeat your motion?
Sure.
Okay.
So,
Listen up, everyone.
Okay, I don't have the total number, but.
You do.
Okay. I make a motion to reduce Dr. Luby's proposed budget by $328,299 to $26,222,263.
Okay.
Doesn't touch SSOs.
For the sake of no confusion, I'm going to put this motion, do we have a second?
Yeah.
Kristen, second.
Okay. I'm gonna put this motion to a vote. No? So we have to do a voice vote since Carol is on. So say your name and then how you vote, yea or nay. Gonna start with Jonathan.
Jonathan Morehart, no.
Eleanor Bishop, yes.
Nora McCarsky, yes.
Shane.
Shane Centrella, no.
Frank Oliveri, no.
Chrissy Rylander, yes.
Joseph Santoro, no.
Carol?
Carol Kiak, no.
Okay. Kurt Warner, no. Okay, so this proposed motion has failed. So, would everyone like to make a second motion?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to, I don't know what the reduction is, but a proposed operating budget of $25,990,482. My rationale for that is we keep our contractual obligations and it also leaves some room for other things, so we're not completely decimating what we already have.
Can you repeat that number, Jessica?
$25,990,482.
Which is what I believe you.
Which is what I believe last week.
So a reduction of $560,080, right?
Okay. So we have a motion on the table to reduce, are we sure about that number?
Yep.
Okay, reduce the budget by $560,080 to a total of $25,990,482.
Was that seconded?
Do we have a second? I'll second it. Okay, we'll bring this motion to a vote. Jonathan, voice vote, please.
Jonathan Morehart, no.
Ellie Bishop, no.
Nora McCarsky, no.
Shane Centrella, no.
Frank Oliveri, no.
Chrissy Rylander, no.
Joseph Santoro, yes.
Carol Warner, yes.
Carol
Okay.
Kiak, no.
Oh, Carol, sorry. All
It's
right.
right about me, right?
So that motion fails. Okay. Vote for two.
Question,
Yes?
the insurance,
Yes.
is there a way to prepay? When is it due, first of all? When is the payment for the insurance increase
Pay
due?
continually throughout the year.
Oh. Is there any way?
So when does the policy period end
Well,
or begin?
well, we have 4 months left in the current budget.
July 1.
July 1.
All right, so we have 4 months basically left in the current budget year, right? Is there any way, in any way, form, to start paying that off now with the current budget? Money's in the current budget, if we don't do things that normally get done and use that money for not prepaying the insurance before July 1st?
I can't answer for the prepay, but I can, the other half of what you're saying is if we did a freeze somehow and freed up some money, we could always move it to the non-lapsing to have it on hand. I don't know if prepay is the thing. I'm sure they would take our money. You know, I'm not sure what we would not do in order to free up the funds.
It's on,
but
now it's off.
theoretically, we could do that.
Because that would be a big nut. That would be another big nut to crack, right? I mean,
You know, in our current budget, as I recall at the, whatever month we're in, I guess at the February Board of Ed meeting, I don't recall seeing that we were anticipating having surplus in the
no,
appropriate
I
budget.
know, I remember, but I'm just saying is there are things we, instead of paying like we would normally do, postpone it without, in other words, if we're ordering something in supplies, we postpone it for 3 months and use that money to sort of put it towards the insurance to lower that number.
So I'm not sure to what magnitude you're thinking, but, you know, by this point in the year, most of the supplies are ordered, because
okay.
it's like workbooks for the kids. We, you
Right.
know, July 1, we do a lot of our ordering
okay.
for the year. Could we free up $10,000, $20,000? Absolutely. I'm sure there is something that we could not do that's intended, but do I think we could put a big dent in 500,000 increase? No. But we could definitely put a little dent.
Have you explored like self-insured options or state funding?
We did. That's a great question. When we first sat with the brokers, Nancy picked me up off the floor when they said you're looking at anywhere from a 30 to 45% increase in your rates. We tried a lot of things. We reached out to another broker entirely. Mike Susi from Gilbert had a relationship with a broker he had used at when he was in his previous school. So we asked that broker to bid things out for us. That was unsuccessful. We asked our brokers to bid us out. We're with Anthem, so bid us out with Connecticut, Aetna, whoever else is out there. Of all the companies he put us out to, which I think is at least 3 or 4, all but one declined to bid on us. Our experience rate, which means for every dollar the insurance company, for every dollar we pay the insurance company, our rate right now says they're paying out $1.50 on our claims. So we're a little bit undesirable. So only one company was willing to bid, and it was far more than we're set up for. We explored self-funded. Because our experience rate is so poor, self-funding actually has the potential to cost us more out of the gate and is very risky. You have to take stop-loss insurance so that if something catastrophic happens, it limits your, but we didn't find that to be a cost savings, and it's a very high-risk move for a little place. When you're in a larger place, that's an easier move. We also explored going to the state plan. We priced that up. The town, us, and Gilbert are sort of all in the same pool, and we're all facing the same thing. Our results were to go to the state plan could save us $75,000 on its face. Our broker counseled us that the coverage is so much better with the state plan that if we hop, we're likely to have people who aren't currently taking benefits hop on. And if we stay where we are with the rates going so much higher, we're actually more likely to have people hop off. So not that I don't want our people to be insured, but our exposure is probably better to stay where we are, was the conclusion. Not the answer I was looking for. I wanted the silver bullet, and we are still working with Brown & Brown to, as they're figuring out which groups, town, us, and all the 17 towns we were a part of a group with, once they figure out who's going to the state plan and who's staying with Anthem, they're still trying to renegotiate that. So to the point earlier of like, if money gets found, you know, if at any point in this process, we get the call from the broker that, great news, I can shave a point off your plan or 2 points off your plan, then we immediately have that reduction we can take. But that isn't, we call them almost every day and say, do you have it yet? Do you have it yet? And as of today, we don't have any, and we don't have a clear sign from them that it's coming. They said they're hopeful they might be able to shave a point or 2, but nothing they're willing to commit to.
Thank you.
If I might add, also,
You have
because
it,
the cost that we-
Nancy.
Oh,
Turn on the
sorry.
mic there.
Because the costs we incur need to be matched to our funding in the current year.
Right.
The auditors would take a prepay sort of thing and put it right back in, so it would not do us
okay.
any good.
Just
Yeah,
thought.
it's a good thought.
Thank you.
Okay, so looking at the last votes, Joe's proposal went down 2 to 7, I'll say it that way.
Yep.
My proposal went down 3-6.
Yep.
It's closer. So are we talking about a cut that's not as egregious? What's the flavor of the board? Because if that's the case, then I'll offer a new motion.
Go ahead.
Okay? I'll make a new motion to, here we go.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna give you this number, is that okay? Yeah. All right. To cut the to cut Julie Luby's proposed, the superintendent's proposed budget by $257,511. $257,511.
So motioning to approve a budget at 26,293,051.
I will second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the table. Jonathan?
Jonathan Morehart, no.
Ellie Bishop, yes.
Nora McCarskey, yes.
Abstain. Shane Centrella, abstain.
Frank Oliveri, no.
Chrissy Rylander, yes.
Joseph Santoro, no.
Carol?
Carol Kiak, no.
Kurt Warner, no. So it's a 5 noes, 3 yeses, and 1 abstention. I feel like that went,
Is that closer?
no,
Then was
because
it?
your first was
Six,
more.
3-6. It was a bigger cut, yep.
Right,
This is a less,
so we want to get in between the first two.
You could try that.
I'm all ears.
So far, you've motioned to cut 260, 330, and 560, loosely, just rounding. Try something. I agree.
So, I will make a motion to reduce the budget by 515,617 for a total budget of 25,993,865. That's a total increase of $2 million.
So it's 515 and 6.
515,617.
It would be less than 2 million.
No,
Oh, I'm sorry, we're looking at the wrong column.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Jonathan?
Jonathan Morehart, no.
Ellie Bishop, no.
I was hoping we'd have discussion. But I will vote no.
Shane Centrella, abstain.
Frank Oliveri, no.
Chrissy Rylander, no.
Joseph Santoro, no.
Carol?
Carol Kiak, no.
Kurt Warner, yes. Okay, motion fails.
Just somebody double check on that one. Is it 171?
Yes.
Robert's Rules, point of order, did you have a second on that motion?
That might be a good
No.
point. Nope, we didn't, so that motion
Good
doesn't
catch.
even go.
What do I do with that in minutes? It just didn't happen?
No, it didn't happen. Okay.
Okay. Oops. Thank you for noticing.
Well, I'm not gonna put it out there again, because I know where it's going.
I'd like to make a motion to pass the full amount of $2,515,617. That's the full ask minus some adjustments.
Are you, I'm sorry, say it again and I'll capture what you're saying.
$2,515,617.
The increase. Okay, so
Mhm.
you're you're making a motion to approve the budget at 26,509,482, which is the proposed budget less the known adjustments.
Yes.
Of the 41,000.
Sorry, I've got many a number floating around on this. Yes.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
I think we discussed enough of this the other night, so I don't know if we need discussion, but
Well,
I will open it up to discussion.
We'll have to have a
Wait,
discussion.
that's the total,
No, we had, that's the original budget.
Less the 41,000 adjustments.
Yep,
So it's the full superintendent proposed budget.
correct.
Any discussion?
I think it's been made clear that this is what the schools need. It's as simple as that.
I think it's also in our best interest to give ourselves time, see if anything comes down the pike from the state, because there are people who are actively working. I don't think we should cut ourselves off. The Board of Selectmen can certainly reevaluate our budget if none of that comes. Us approving this isn't putting it out to referendum. Us approving this is putting it to the Board of Selectmen, and they decide what goes to referendum. I think we should give ourselves the benefit of some time.
If this doesn't pass, then I'm thoroughly confused. Persons that are offering the no's in the previous motions, you'd have to kind of give me a sense of direction.
I think we're going further away from this, but if there's no other discussion, we can bring it to the vote. Okay. Joseph?
Joseph Santoro, no.
Chrissy Rylander, yes.
Frank Oliveri, no.
Shane, abstain.
Nora?
Nora McCursky, no.
Ellie Bishop, yes. Jonathan Moore, no.
Carol?
Sorry, it's busy here. Carol Kiak, no.
Just
Kurt Warner, no. So we have 6 no's, 2 yeses, and 1 abstention.
Yep.
Okay, motion fails. So we're trying to get a middle ground here. When we're getting further away.
Well, could I make a motion?
Please do.
I'd like to read a motion.
Nope, we can't add them.
Okay.
This is just on the budget.
Okay, then I am going to make a motion that we end this meeting, and we meet again Thursday night here at 6:30.
I don't think we're there yet.
And I would like to add to the agenda my motion, that I'd
Okay.
like to read that.
Okay, so you will state your motion again?
My motion is to end this meeting tonight. We schedule another budget meeting on, let's see, what's today? Today is Tuesday, so Thursday evening here at 6:30. And at that time, I would like to add to the agenda for that meeting a motion that I have here written, that I would like my motion added to the agenda, so I can read it in front of the board and whoever's in the room here with us.
Before we were to vote on such a matter, maybe amend the motion because there still are 2 other line items. It would be to table any motion in the action items and then move on to public comment, you mean, and then we adjourn.
So in other words, I think that's out of order.
Oh, okay.
You can amend the motion? Yeah, it's,
I
right.
think you're motioning to close discussion on the
Okay.
topic, is that what you're saying?
Okay, let's close discussion, okay.
Motion to end discussion and reconvene.
Do
End
we have a-
discussion and go to public comment.
Do we have a second? Do we have a second?
For discussion, I'll second.
Okay. I don't know.
This takes 2/3, I believe, because you're ending an action item.
Okay.
Yep. So we can discuss this, or we can, I'm gonna move it to a vote.
Voting on ending the meeting?
Yes.
Ending discussion, ending this action item.
Okay, can we have discussion first
Sure.
on that, on
Sure.
Frank's motion? Our job here is to be prepared today and to get this done. And please understand that this activity does have that ripple effect to the culture and the climate of our community. And I can appreciate you wanted to have more time, but I think that's what we said the last meeting, and we need to make some tough decisions today. So,
And we've had plenty of time.
Okay.
right.
The motion, all right.
No, we have a motion, we have a second, we're discussing.
Okay.
I feel we've had plenty of time to come up with an informed vote decision tonight. Just because we are voting on a motion, or voting on a budget tonight, or whenever we do, it then requires Dr. Luby and Nancy to prepare the motion to get it to the town manager by Friday. That is not an easy thing to do. So the longer we delay this, the harder it is for them to get it prepared, to get it to the town manager, who wants it in his hands as soon as possible. That being said, since we have a second, we will bring it, and it does require a 2/3 vote for this. I will call a vote. Jonathan?
Jonathan Moorhart, no.
Ellie Bishop, no.
Nora McCarskey, no.
Shane Centrella, no.
Frank Oliveri, yes.
Chrissy Rylander, no.
Joseph Santoro, no.
Carol? Is she on?
Oops.
You there?
Yep, she's there.
Carol?
Carol?
Yeah, I said no. I said no.
Yeah, we didn't have you on speaker, sorry.
Okay.
Kurt Warner, no. So that motion fails. 8-1.
I'd like to make a motion.
Please.
To adopt a budget of $26 million, and that's the highest I'll
26
go.
million.
That's the
Alright.
highest I'll go, 10,000 over, or around there. My original that I've had.
Okay, so
26 million flat would be a reduction of 550,562.
Alright, so, yep. Do we have a second? Do we have a second? Do we have a second? Seeing none,
It dies.
there is no motion.
That's right.
Thank you. All right, folks, we gotta get somewhere here. And we gotta get closer as opposed to further. We're trying here. All right, so let's say,
So we're in the range, we're talking about, those of you that have said no, I'm hearing, Joe, you were a no and you're offering a motion. Jonathan, I haven't heard a motion. Kurt, I've heard a motion. Shane, I haven't heard a motion. I've heard yeses. Anybody else want to offer anything? Are we talking about cutting $1 million? Carol hasn't.
Close to $500,000.
26 is my top.
Sorry?
26 is my top. Or my,
Your highest and best?
my highest and least. Well, less, of course, but my highest.
So there's a stake in the ground. Joseph's no more than 26 million.
Okay.
Could you, Julie, just for the sake of edification, can you walk us through what a 550 cut would be? would mean to,
I can do that. Can I show the $500,000? That's pretty close to that. Okay. Matthew, would you kindly go to the $500,000, the 500,000 K 1 million tab? Yeah, and show the top half of the page. So in preparation for tonight, this is 500,000. And again, this is illustrative. So, but this is illustrative. So to get to, this actually adds up to 511,000. It includes the 41,000 efficiencies that we've identified. It includes everything that's new in the budget. And again, we can figure out how to save like the gifted and talented stipends if that's like the one thing that everybody on the board cares about. But for a clean discussion, that's everything new, the efficiencies, one classroom teacher, and field trips. If you tell me field trips is a hard line for you, because honestly, I'm not happy about that either. And then I would need to find another 40,000 to get to Joseph's 550 number.
well, we're talking about elimination of the BCBA. We're talking about eliminating the classroom teacher that I had mentioned. We're talking about everything that's new, like you had mentioned, yep, plus field trips, okay?
I'm not gonna say that I like this number, but I will observe that you're all, well, I don't know you're all, but you're getting close to each other. They say the spirit of compromise means no one leaves happy. I think it's safe to say no one is gonna leave happy tonight.
So also understanding, you know, that increase is, the current increase at the full amount is 906, 656. That's our portion.
Cutting more than half that.
So 500,000 would put our portion down to 406, 656. That portion includes insurance increases, wages increases. So that's what I want you to understand, what those numbers signify and how it impacts us directly.
Field trip transportation is 6,000 there, Julie?
Yep.
I mean, the one thing I say about field trips, and I understand this community more than any, it'd be hard, but field trip experience doesn't mean they have to go away. It just means that the parents would have to pay a portion, which for this community is hard. But it doesn't mean they go away.
Well, except that if people can't pay, we
Right.
can't go, so. It definitely makes it a much harder decision to do a trip.
No, just, would we be able to like fundraise anything? Like, is that
The PTA,
allowed?
PTO,
PTO.
they do.
They just gave us $6,000 this year to supplement the price of field trips, if that's what you're referring to, so that even with our 22,000 in the budget, you know, every time you leave the building, Nancy, the trip is gonna cost $2,000-3,000 in admissions, and then the bus is gonna be, what do we pay, $500 a run, so figure it's the better. I think when we wanted to go to Gilbert just for the Christmas show was like $700 or $800, and that was literally across the street. So it's just that taking a trip is ridiculously expensive, and we make judicious choices, but we try and do at least one good trip at each grade level. But if 8 grade levels do a trip that costs $4,000, we're using up our budget plus the PTO money. Like,
And that's also a call to arms, that our PTO is minimalistic as we speak. So the parents in the room here, parents at home,
help sell the pies.
let's get involved with the PTO. Let's do our part that way, and maybe let's find some revenue or funds that way as well. So that's a call to arms for that as well.
Julie, can you back out the field trips? Because that's, like, can you take this here and take out the 16,000, like, in other words, don't cut it, don't cut this, yeah. And then the BCBA, what would that look like?
So then we're at a reduction of 3, what does that say, 67?
Right, okay.
We're kind of
More
back
like
where you
towards
were.
where I was at. Okay, put the BCBA back in, if you wouldn't mind. Let's take the, what was the other one? Classroom teacher, field trips. Like in others, don't cut the field trips. Oh, the 6,000 for the gifted and talented, take out the 6,000. So we're gonna not cut it. In other words, in my conversation with myself here, with us as a board, where are we at now?
483, 379 off of the appropriated budget.
483.
So we're closing in on almost 2 hours,
That's all right. Plenty of time.
right? Start at 6:30. I feel like I know where 1, 2, 3 people stand as far as a number. 4, including myself, because I know I've stated it numerous times. But I feel like we have some like indecision as to what that number is for you. I've stated it. I feel like others have stated it. But in order for us to come to a decision or move forward, because this is kind of, it's going to get silly at a point, and this is making us all look foolish. So I think, right, if you guys have a stated, I've stated my place. I think others have stated their place where it's at, presented motions. We need to move forward, so.
I don't wanna look
Nitpick.
at positions. I just want a number. Julie's job to worry about the number, once the numbers present. She can get creative. So what's a number that we can come to a compromise on? I'm not looking for a unanimous. We got a lot of personalities in this room. I don't expect that. I'm looking for a number that we can present to Mr. Harrington by Friday.
I make a motion to propose 26 million flat.
I think I did that. Oh, no, oh, yeah,
We
you
never
did.
had a
You did,
second.
yeah, right. So that's a reduction in 560,562, if I'm correct?
550,000, 562, very
550,
good.
550, 550?
Yep.
550,562. That is the motion on the table. Do we have a second? I will second that. We gotta give it a chance here. All right,
And that opens up for discussion.
we can.
All right.
I mean,
I've put
I'll
my
discuss
stake in
that.
the ground. Where's everybody else? Like, really, seriously, we gotta come up with a number.
Yeah, my stake in the ground last meeting was I won't go below status quo, and that's gonna
That's
mean,
fair.
that's gonna remain my stake
That's
in the
fair.
ground.
That's fair.
That's fair. That's fair.
So we got 1, 2 status quo. We got 26 million. Frank, I don't know. Jonathan, no clue.
What's your lowest? Reasonably. Just so we can move this forward. Because if it gets pushed back, it gets pushed back. But we can't be here all night like we were last night.
well, are we gonna discuss it, or are we just gonna vote on it? Like, I don't feel like anyone has a discussion, like, we don't have to figure out everyone's number, but we have a vote on the table, we have a second, so I'd say we just vote on it.
Okay.
And go from there. Jonathan?
Jonathan Moorhart, no?
Eleanor Bishop, no.
Nora McCarsky, no.
Shane Centrella, no.
Frank Oliveri, no.
Chrissy Rylander, no.
Joseph Santoro, yes.
Carol?
Carol Kiak, no.
Kurt Warner, yes.
7-2.
Okay, fails 7-2. Try.
Does anybody else want to offer a motion?
You could try
I would
the
like
status
to.
quo, the 377.
Go ahead, Frank.
Got to read my motion?
Yep. On the budget.
This is a budget item. This is about everything they asked for and talked about tonight. All the different programs they talked about.
Frank, you are not presenting that motion.
Okay, that's what I'm asking. Thank you.
You can present a number for us to vote on. But that's not happening.
Okay, all right.
motion.
Jonathan,
Shane, you
do you
said
have any
you've made your position clear?
input?
Multiple times. I said there was a presentation that was made when we first started this budget process. Right? Was there not a 4-position?
4 scenarios?
Yes.
Okay.
4 positions. Not that that particular scenario was the choice, but that an outside the box thinking towards a plan, and I've yet to hear anything that really solidifies. It's just talk, it's just conjecture, it's not anything solid, so that's where my no vote comes from. It's not moving it forward, it's that I've heard status quo many times. So.
So just give me
Notes
one
in the back of the house, it's really hard to hear you.
Fair.
Does anyone want to make a motion with a number attached to it?
Okay, guys, I'm gonna make another motion. We're closer, all right, for some of you, because we do need to bring forward a budget, and in terms of bigger thinking, that's not for tonight. What you see there is projected, and that is, I make a motion to cut the budget at $483,379. Joe, that's less than how much off of you?
550, 560.
That's, yeah, right,
So it's about 73,000.
right, right,
I'll get you what you're trying to do. That
sure,
would be-
sure. We keep those field trips, we keep that gifted and talented, we do not keep BCBA that gets cut.
I can deal with that.
yeah. So a budget of 26,067,183. Pretty close to what you said. Basically saves 1 teaching position from
Wish
what
we
you
could see
said.
that.
Okay, so we
Okay.
have
4,
a motion
8,
on the table to reduce the budget by $483,379 for a total budget of $26,067,183. Do I have a second? I will second that.
Thank you, Kurt.
Jonathan?
Jonathan Morehart, no.
Eleanor Bishop, no.
Nora Makarsky, yes.
Shane Centrella, no.
Frank Oliveri, no.
Chrissy Rylander, no.
Joseph Santoro, yes.
Carol?
Carol Kiak, no.
Kurt Warner, yes. I really don't see where we're at, guys. I don't.
Yeah, I'm not
Joe, you and I are
understanding.
closer here, right?
I mean, at this point, we just gotta
Right?
pick a number, and then they'll tear it apart. I mean,
But these are children's educations. It's not pick a number. It's not pull a number out of a hat. It's children's lives. It's not pick a number. We don't do that.
I'm balancing fiscal responsibility and keeping services, keeping our contractual agreements, and also, not trying to, decimate our school system. We're at an impasse. We can't afford it, and I feel like this is a
It's
fair
not your job
compromise.
to worry about what can be afforded. We've made that clear, that our job as a board of education is to advocate for children.
And as I said last week, you can't take
Okay,
care of your
guys,
children
we're gonna-
without
this
taking
is
care
not-
of your parents.
This is not helping us any bit.
Well, and just also too, just in that 550,000 that you proposed, like, that's more than the insurance increases. So that's not taking care of our contractual obligations, a cut that size. That's putting us below the contractual obligations. Staying within our contractual obligations and reducing it would be the 377,509.
That's
And
the-
then we're still paying all of the contractual obligations. So anything below that is actually going into the contractual obligation.
That number. I mean, you guys got my number. That's where I'm at, unfortunately.
So there's multiple steps beyond tonight by persons that take our budget and do whatever they do, okay? We have a legal obligation to pass a budget into the hands of the Board of Selectmen. At some point, persons are gonna have to start saying yes. Persons that are saying no, what's your offer here? Where are you?
Jonathan, I have not gotten one yes out of you.
You have not, and I have a question. Julie, by any chance, do you have some of those old options on the chart from a few nights ago? Can we look over some of those old options that were rejected, revisit them?
Well, you've got on the board $500,000, which is, and then $1 million is below that. Matthew, if I could ask you to just scroll, that's what $1 million looks like. The big difference that you'll see between this and the first round is that Kurt asked me to fine tune it such that it looked closer to what would actually happen. You know, when you start to get to a number near 750 to $1 million, there really isn't an answer. Thus the sort of outlandish suggestions of like, stop doing specials, because there just isn't a way to get to that number reasonably. The $500,000 number that you were looking at the top of the page, I don't like it, but I know how to get there. You give me $1 million, I don't know how to get there. I wish I could offer you the silver bullet. I know that people are looking for a big number. We have shaved and shaved and shaved out of the budget. We can't get rid of library aids because we don't have library aids. We can't get rid of magnet school transportation because we don't have that. Like, we just don't have anything that we're not required to do. So the other paper that we did before, there's nothing different there. I mean, it's in different buckets and adds up differently, but it's all the same pieces. All of it is human beings. You know, the amount of the budget that isn't human beings is negligible.
No, I know, but that's.
Well, no whispering, but, so.
Okay, we're all?
So just to speak it out loud, so not to revisit old because I'm not trying to bring it back to this, but there was 4 options presented. So whether they were viable or not, I had stated at that time that that was the only number, and it was not a pulling away, it was a creation, right? It would be a creation of something that would offset funds, even if it is not this fiscal year. And that's my, right? We are voting on a budget now, but we're not talking about what's gonna come down the line next year, and we do this time and time again. So that's where I'm really stuck. That's why I will continue to say no. It's not to take away funds from our children. It's not to, it's because we come back to the same thing and we get pitted against each other, and it's this and it's that, and we do not have a viable solution for the future to reduce some of these costs and look inward. When you are you could say at-risk district, we have to think of ways to create things. It's like a household. We can think of single mothers. I know many families that don't do what other families do because they don't have the means to do so. So they say, okay, we have to get more creative. When we are in a financial position to do so, we can start to put out more funds. We can start to have more of these things. We have to build a program that brings in funds or at least shows us the future plan to do so. I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, but that's why I'm voting no. And there is not a number that's been presented or a plan that's been presented that feels like it brings us forward. To just push forward the status quo, we've done that time and time again. I'm 40 years old this year. I've been in this town since I was a little kid. I went through the public schools. I know how it goes. I am not trying to be one of the old curmudgeons that says, let's not push this forward, because I would like to see some active change. And I understand that in some people's mind, spending more money is an effect towards an active change. To me, from a business mindset and a thinking mindset, we have to think about how to reduce costs from a bring things in, how can we facilitate ourselves, how can we do stuff in another way? I know that does not solve today's budget, but it does save or hedge our future. That's all I'm saying. And I have yet to see that plan. And that's what concerns me. I've heard plans from other schools, other districts that have that, and that's what concerns me. That's why I keep voting no. It's not because it's not because there's a number. So again, that can be, but that's where I'm at. So I don't mean to be stuck in the mud on that, but I'm not here to create the budget. I'm just here to vote on it. And again, there's not a viable option that I think actually moves us forward, because we just keep kicking the ball down the road and we have to pay the bills. So it's like, there has to be a viable solution. As a business owner, that's what you have to do, right? You have to do those things. You have to make necessary pivots to do so. And I don't see an option that's provided us that solution.
And I'll say the only position in this budget, or the only ask in this budget, that could provide or go towards that vision is the BCBA, which is, for me, the non-negotiable.
I would support that.
Care is to build a program. That's to create
You
autism
just have to
clubs.
speak up so everybody can hear.
Right.
And then that whole pile is around.
I understand. The BCBA, though, to reduce his workload. Listen, I know we need more special education. I know that. I know the impact it has on the overall school climate. I know that. But we have a BCBA currently that has 30 kid caseload, and I don't think that's gonna go down. So getting another one to help them out, I think is important. I don't wanna talk about positions. I don't wanna, like, what we can cut and what we should keep. I don't wanna keep talking about that, because there's teachers in this district that are watching this.
So Kurt, you and I, you looked at 515, I looked at 483, okay? My 483, I know you don't wanna look at positions, mine was a little bit more robust, that's all I'll say. I'm gonna make a motion so we can move this, and I would implore my colleagues to let's move this forward. The sausage has to be into several different hands before, so who knows, you might find that we're gonna have to make further cuts. We might find that the state steps in, so we gotta move this, right? It's 8:30, so I'm gonna make a motion to cut the budget by $500,000. That's halfway between Kurt and I, ish. I think the math and I were like,
Joseph voted yes.
I think that, Joe, that gets closer to what you're looking at. I think my colleagues to my right and my left are gonna have to make some decisions here. I'm sorry, it's just, it's not the whole boat. We understand that. I understand Shane's need to look towards goals and long-term planning. Tonight, however, as you recognize, it's not now, it's after now. And there's a lot of steps yet ahead of us. So let's go. That's my motion.
I hear you, Nora, but again, just coming from this particular spot, we do this every year.
Yeah.
We've been on this board
Yeah.
for 11 years.
Yeah.
How many times have we done this? I've been on it for 3. It's not to be adversarial, it's just to say, like, we've never built a program that facilitated back, so this is what I had heard tonight. Correct me if I'm wrong, please, because you were here for it. Just 8 years ago, we were in the talks before COVID to build a special ed program. Was that true? Is that untrue? In the Bank of America building, was there?
That didn't work out because the town
Didn't allow us
and
to
the
use
monies to
building?
refurbish that building to be up to speed was not costly.
Okay.
But there was discussion on building a type of
There
program.
was.
Yeah.
But listen, I have a motion, right?
Sure.
So I don't want to derail this.
Okay,
It's
that's
8:30 at
fine.
night. What was
8:40
my,
actually.
You wanna cut
500,000.
And
I'm looking,
approve a budget.
So the-
and approve a budget of 26,050,562.
Carol, did you hear that?
Yes, I did.
All right, so the motion would be to reduce the budget by 500,000 to 26,050,562. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a second. All right.
Here we go.
Let's call a vote. Jonathan?
Jonathan Moore, no.
Eleanor Bishop, yes.
Nora McCarski, yes.
Shane Centrell, abstain.
Frank Oliveri, no.
Chrissy Rylander, no.
Joseph Santoro, yes.
Carol?
Carol Kiak, no.
And Kurt Werner, yes.
None.
Nope.
So we had 4, 4, and 1?
4, 4, and 1.
Carol, can you speak to what your thoughts are?
Excuse me?
Do you want to speak to what your thoughts are about the budget, or are you just,
I just have a lot of, like, I think no, because
Okay.
I have a lot of comments and questions that I feel have never been answered. And when I ask a question or put forth something, I get shot down. I don't get a valid explanation. I'll just give you an example, like on the insurance, I still feel that it's not our job to figure that out. And so I read numbers today with my office, and we pay $9,000 a person for insurance, and we pay $27,000 a person for insurance. Again, these are things that I think need to be explored. You're taking money away from the kids, which I don't agree with, but I feel like all the other options on these contractual services have to be explored, and I just feel it was a peel and play from the last superintendent, and there was no reductions made, and there was no negotiations with other outside vendors to bring down these costs. The cost of transportation for special ed is ridiculous. I mean, it's 3 times what we pay just to bus the rest of the kids.
Carol, I'm
I
gonna
just
hold on.
All right,
I
well,
just
you asked my opinion.
no.
sir,
I just
and
I
I'm
want
giving my
clarification on
opinion,
something you said first, and you
Okay.
can continue.
Okay.
Your business self-insures, correct?
Up to a certain point.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted clarification, so you can keep going.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, and I just feel like I just feel like there's so many things in this budget. I think I've memorized it by now. That it's up to negotiation, and that's not our job to do. It's up to the superintendent to do that, or whoever does it. And I feel like the kids are being penalized because of all these ridiculous costs that we're paying. And I just feel like that was never addressed. I mean, we got taught about how the school runs and who does what and blah, blah, blah. But like, we've only literally talked about the budget, the numbers for 2 weeks. And I just feel like I can't, like, if my boss gave me a job and said, here's your budget, you work within your budget and you get the job done. I mean, that's just my feeling. So I think, and I understand all this. I'm a very intelligent woman. I understand all of this stuff. I just feel like there's just so much stuff that can be reduced here that doesn't affect the kids. And that's why I feel like somebody's got to go back to the drawing board and figure this out. I mean, we can't keep on doing this. It's like the definition of insanity. You just keep on doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. We got to look outside the box and figure this out. And I don't want to penalize the kids. I think that the gift and talent is the most important out of all of this, because like everybody else has special needs and special ed get all the attention and get all the extra stuff. And these kids that are just doing what they're supposed to be doing and are actually intelligent, smart kids, and not saying the other kids don't deserve that help, but they get left in the dust. They don't get anything. And I think it's kind of backwards. And that's my opinion. And I just feel like there's things in this budget that can be cut and not touching the kids. That's my thoughts.
Thank you. So one thing I would say to that is whatever number we vote on tonight, it's Julie's and Nancy's job to figure out the numbers on how to get there, which would minimally affect the kids. So this talk of contracts and all that, they're gonna have to work on that. So, and they have, but they can still go back to the table on that. but tonight is giving them a framework to work within. That's what we're here for. We're giving them a framework to work within it. But thank you. Thank you for your.
Sorry. I make a motion for a 10-minute recess.
I second. All in favor? Aye. Carol? Aye?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. That is a unanimous one. What do you know?
Nora made it.
Microphones off, please.
Did it get seconded?
Kurt seconded.
Yeah. Joe, you're trying.
See where everybody's coming from, even though I have my own, position to see more that's the town, that's the number of the day. Trying to use the number. There's so many variables beyond this.
And they're gonna tell us a number, and we're just gonna have to deal with it.
Yeah.
I mean, we can work on a plan, but I don't know what plan will work, I mean, when we have 72 hours to get something. At least Paul's shares mine. So if we move this forward, then we can spend more time building something. That's just my thing, because we can argue, we can all argue. Pardon me, Julie.
Microphones?
Make a motion to return from recess at 8:55 PM.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, another unanimous. All right, we're on a roll.
Is Carol back by?
Carol, you there?
Nope.
Hold on.
What the heck? Go through.
I've reached Carol Key.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay, hold on, pause.
I got a text from Carol, what did she say?
Does she call somebody else?
You can record that she's left a meeting.
Okay.
Hopefully you get it back.
Let me give her a call. See.
You got a magic phone over there?
Who knows?
All right.
So she's not there?
She's not there.
Okay, so we'll just record for the minutes that Carol's left the meeting at 8:56.
I've reached.
Yeah, she's back.
No, that was her voice.
Oh,
I tried.
okay. All right, I make a motion to cut the proposed budget by $500,000, making the proposed budget, what's the math?
26 million,
$26,050,000,
562.
$562.
Okay. We have a motion on the table to reduce the budget by 500,000 for a total amount of 26,050,562. Do we have a second?
Oh, second that.
Okay, we have a second. All right. Joseph?
Joseph Santoro, yes.
Chrissy Rylander, yes.
Frank Oliveri, no.
Shane Centrella, abstain.
Nora?
Nora McCarthy, yes?
Ellie Bishop, yes.
Jonathan Moore, no.
Kurt Warner, yes. And with Carol not here at the moment, we have a 5 for yes, 2 for no, and 1 abstain. So motion passes.
We have a
Okay.
budget.
We have a budget. Okay. On to item 5, public comment. The Winchester Board of Education welcomes you to its business meeting. This is a second opportunity set aside to hear comments from the public. We welcome and encourage public participation as a valued part of communicating input with the Winchester Board of Education. We appreciate your adherence to following. Complete the requested information on the sign-in sheet. If you wish to speak, state your name and address when called upon to speak. You will be allotted 3 minutes to share your comments. Please be advised that it's not the practice of the Board of Education to engage in dialogue regarding commentary. The superintendent of schools will be directed by the chairperson to prepare an appropriate response in a timely manner. We appreciate your time and thoughtful commentary. Does anyone wish to speak? Does anyone wish to speak? If you want to turn your microphone on. There you go. Thank you.
Tim Strahan, 258 Colebrook Road. Just wanted to go up and say thank you again, everyone, and glad you all finally came to a decision and came to it. I would like to say, though, I'm disappointed in Frank and Jonathan. You were both directly asked what your numbers were and failed to give us a number. You guys, I'm highly disappointed in the two of you. Even Joe, even though you want to cut more than I'd like, you at least gave a stance. These two need to make decisions. Make decisions or leave the board. That's all. Have a good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Does anyone else wish to speak? Does anyone else wish to speak? Seeing none, we'll move on. Item 6. Anyone like to make a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
I would like to have a discussion.